Welcome back to Tesla, the Shadow Archive. This is where every episode becomes a journey into the darkest corners of humanity's technological history. This is where inventions that never appeared in any textbook begin to resurface, because someone decided they should be hidden from the world, and today, we open a file that even the United States government never wanted to be revealed. A device Tesla believed could influence the entire surface of the Earth. A piece of energy technology or weapon depending on who controlled it. The magnifying transmitter. The machine of amplified frequency. If you feel like everything we have been taught about the history of electricity is flawed, press like. If this is your first time visiting the Shadow Archive, press subscribe. The hidden inventions coming next will be even more shocking. But before we begin, ask yourself this. If a piece of technology is powerful enough to change the world, who would be the first to try to stop it? Colorado Springs. The year 1899. A small town on the American plains became the stage for an experiment the world had never seen. Every night, from Tesla's experimental station, the sky exploded with blinding white and blue light. Artificial lightning bolts stretching dozens of yards shot upward into the air. Columns of electric arcs twisted like living serpents, roaring as if they were tearing the atmosphere apart. Then one night, something no one expected happened. Light from Tesla's experiment was seen from roughly 26 miles away. And no other experiment on Earth at that time produced anything close to that effect. Electrical engineers in the town were unable to explain what they were witnessing. A transformer far outside the testing area burned out. Light bulbs that were not connected to Tesla's station flickered in sync with the electrical pulses he generated. It felt like magic. But Tesla understood exactly what was happening. He had just touched the deep-seated frequency of the Earth itself, a type of natural resonance humanity had never been able to measure. A key that, if turned the right way, could unlock limitless energy or destroy everything, and Tesla chose to use that key to create the magnifying transmitter. First, forget everything you think you know about the Tesla coil. The magnifying transmitter, the MT, was not simply a larger coil. It was not a dramatic lightning display machine. It was a three-stage resonance system designed to amplify the Earth's natural frequency. Its structure consisted of three critical components. 1. The extra coil, a third-order resonant coil. It produced extremely high voltages, strong enough to ionize the air and excite standing waves. 2. The ground resonator, a grounding system, reaching down roughly 131 feet into the Earth. Tesla believed the Earth behaved as a giant electrical body. To influence the Earth, he needed to reach deep into it. 3. The dome, a large metallic sphere above the tower. This surface antenna pushed resonant signals into the atmosphere and down into the ground. The goal of this device was not to produce beautiful lightning arcs. The true purpose was to generate a forced electrical oscillation strong enough to make the Earth vibrate at a frequency Tesla selected. If done correctly, energy would travel across the entire surface of the planet. No wires. No power stations, no loss. That was Tesla's dream. But it was also the nightmare of those who controlled the world's energy systems. Tesla believed every object had its own natural frequency. And if you strike that frequency, you control the object. With the Earth, this idea sounded insane. But Tesla measured its resonant frequency by observing electromagnetic storms and natural lightning. He discovered that the Earth behaved like an electric sphere, a kind of resonant cavity. This is the same concept science would not officially confirm until decades later. Known today as the Schumann resonance, Tesla measured it long before anyone had the tools to do so. In his notes, Tesla described findings still considered controversial. The Earth could conduct electricity far better than people believed. Energy could travel thousands of miles without any wires. And if you hit the right frequency, energy would not decay. This meant that a single transmitter in the United States could illuminate lights across Europe. One device could power the entire human race, but that same principle also had the potential to become the most dangerous frequency-based weapon ever conceived, because resonance does not choose targets. If you shake the earth, buildings, bridges, steel structures, everything vibrates with it. The magnifying transmitter was the first device on Earth powerful enough to test that idea. And that is exactly why it was never allowed to be completed. This story was long considered a myth. But Tesla's own accounts make it disturbingly believable. He once built a small mechanical oscillator, a resonance experiment. He attached it to a steel support beam in a building in New York City. At first, nothing happened. Then after a few minutes, the entire building began to shake. Glass windows started to crack. Workers inside panicked and ran down the stairways. The police were called. Tesla smashed the device with a hammer to stop it from bringing the structure down. If a device no bigger than a person's forearm could shake a building, what could the magnifying transmitter do? Being many times larger, Tesla understood the danger, and perhaps powerful people understood as well, which is why they did not want Tesla to ever test it on a planetary scale. In the year 1901, J. Pierpont Morgan, the most powerful financier in the United States, agreed to fund Tesla, not because he believed in global wireless energy, but because he thought Tesla was building a giant radio station. The Wardenclyffe Tower rose with funding equivalent to millions of United States dollars today. But Morgan quickly realized Tesla was hiding something. Tesla began speaking openly about free energy, wireless energy, energy that could not be controlled. Morgan immediately cut funding. Energy corporations applied pressure, lighting the entire world with free energy. Impossible. Not when billions of dollars in power plants and copper wire infrastructure depended on the existing system. Wardenclyffe was abandoned. Its workers were dismissed. Its equipment was seized. In the year 1917, the United States Army demolished the Wardenclyffe Tower. The official reason? To prevent espionage by Germany, but townspeople reported that the site had been sealed off for days before the explosion. No one was allowed in. No one was allowed to see the underground resonator chamber. When Tesla learned the tower had been destroyed, he said nothing, as if he knew this day would come. In every suppressed story, there are those who benefit. With the magnifying transmitter, three forces wanted it erased. First, the energy corporations. Alternating current and direct current were still battling. Power plants were expanding across the country. If Tesla succeeded, all of it would become obsolete. Second, the United States government. A device capable of transmitting signals at frequencies far beyond the technology of its time was a national security threat. No one could monitor who was listening, who was transmitting, or how. Third, the military establishment. Any device capable of inducing large-scale resonance could become a weapon of waveform disruption, a frequency weapon, an infrastructure weapon, a seismic weapon. If a single nation possessed the magnifying transmitter, global power would shift forever. These forces would never allow that to happen. Not in Tesla's lifetime. Not ever. On January 7th, 1943, Tesla was found dead in hotel room number 3327 of the New Yorker hotel within 3 hours. The Federal Bureau of Investigation seized all of his documents. No examinations, no waiting for family, no standard legal procedure. Why the rush? Documents related to the magnifying transmitter, especially calculations on Earth resonance, never appeared in any public archive. The Colorado Springs notes had pages removed. Blueprints of Wardenclyffe's underground systems vanished from construction records. When questioned, the Federal Bureau of Investigation said, Tesla's documents are too complex for civilians. It was an answer both vague and suspicious. Some believe the government studied the magnifying transmitter during classified Cold War programs. Others think its principles were used for radar, high-frequency weapons, and atmospheric transmitters. No one confirms it. No one denies it. And that is how successful suppression works, Tesla once declared. With sufficient energy and the correct resonant frequency, I could split the Earth in half. Many believed he exaggerated. But resonance is real. A suspension bridge collapsed when wind struck its resonant frequency. A wine glass shatters when a singer hits the right pitch. A skyscraper shakes when it aligns with seismic waves. So what happens if you activate the resonant frequency of the Earth itself? No one knows. No one dares to try. Perhaps that is why the magnifying transmitter was destroyed before it could reach full power. If it truly could produce resonance on a planetary scale, even a slight miscalculation could unleash consequences beyond human control. Some scientists say Tesla overstated his claims, but it is unsettling that no one is willing to prove him wrong. The magnifying transmitter was not simply a machine for generating electricity. It was the beginning of a global energy network, the foundation of the world wireless system. A world without wires, without energy tolls, without monopolies, without limits. If completed, Tesla could have powered the entire human race from a single tower, or disabled it with a single command. That is not power. That is ultimate power, and the one who held that power would not be Tesla. It would be whoever possessed the final blueprint, which is why the magnifying transmitter was never allowed to exist. Not because it did not work, but because it worked too well. If the magnifying transmitter worked exactly as Tesla described, we could have lived in a world of limitless energy since the early 1900s. A world without power lines, without power plants, without energy monopolies, without control. Instead, we have sealed archives, suppressed documents, a demolished tower, and a silence that has lasted more than a century. The question now is, what did Tesla intend to connect to this global network? And why did he believe it could change civilization itself? Do not forget to subscribe. The next episode, the World Wireless System, will take you deeper into the shadows, where technology was not simply hidden. It was erased,